we are going to be going into King's Row as we say that. Now, King's Row, it's been around pretty much since the start of the beta. A lot of teams are incredibly accustomed to it, and they pretty much, it's been interesting to see the meta evolve over the map since the game's actually been in beta and even to now. So it's drifted from seeing these Symmetras on first and even Junkrats, so nowadays it's pretty much you get a standard lineup, I want to say, with these dual supports. And straight off the bat, what's basically shouting out to you with this lineup right now, Sideshow?
Taking a look over at Northern Gaming Red, who are on defense for this first one, I can see that Mangachu is repping the Roadhog, which has been working out pretty well for a lot of teams on defense of King's Row. And they also have Bird on Soldier 76, and I would watch out for that guy because his Soldier 76 is really something to behold. He's able to get a lot of damage out and plays the high grounds, plays kind of fairly far back, but still able to pump out a huge amount of DPS. So a really solid lineup for them. They've also got Wolf playing on McCree. He used to play McCree back before the nerf as well, so he's sticking solid with that hero, you know, getting ready for the next patch as well, where McCree gets a bit of a buff. But on the other side, what's really interesting from code7, if they stick with it, is that they have a lot of pick potential with Nicholas on the Pharah and Harblue as well, looking to hook people in and engage. So I'm interested to see whether they go fast or whether they take it slow with this one.
So looking at these teams now, they're just starting to roll out. We see Harblue basically peeking a little space now. He's trying to get a hook off. Does connect it straight onto Mangachu. Mangachu in a bit of trouble there. Immediately the response is straight away, as we do see Chance just blocking off his teammate there and taking all the damage from him. And Harblue, he's just fishing for these hooks time and time again, and it's going to be a bit very, very difficult now, as we already see Torque picks up the first frag onto Bread Expert. That's going to be the Lucio down now, and this fight's still being taken. Hooks coming out left, right, center in this building areas. There's two Roadhogs just having at it. Mangachu going to be the ones coming out on top as we see it now, and there's another hook as well by Mangachu as he picked up JKW, and that is ultimately, surely, Sideshow, they're going to have to reset off this fight now.
A really good play by Mangachu, just taking control of that hotel area, made sure that there was a 3-1. He manages to get the hook onto Joe Meister as well, who had won the Soldier 76 1v1, but can't win the 1v1 against Mangachu there, who gets the hook onto him and blasts a load of lead into his face. Harblue's back on the scene though, and they're going to be attempting to shred down Chance's field. Chance just bullied forward a little bit there, but the whole hog coming out from Mangachu is going to push people really far back from the point.
Wolf pops off his Deadeye. He's going to pick up Joe Meister in the end. The whole hog also still coming out for Harblue, and he's really just zoning them out, but at the same time, Mangachu, one hit, one kill. He's just completely destroyed Torque in the process, and that's going to be forcing out the Resurrection now, as we do see them still trying to take this fight now. Code7 really battling it out. There is a Resurrect still available on Northern Gaming Red, so they can use it if they want. Chance to take the initiative straight to them now, leaping right in with his hammer, basically trying to get those swings in. Wolf with the 2k, picks up JKW and Torque in the end. So those are two very critical picks now. And really, Northern Gaming Red are going to be pretty happy with that. Shake did go down in the end to Mangachu as well, so this is definitely going to be a reset once again. Code7 cannot fight off this Sideshow whatsoever.
Yeah, really great play so far from the defense of Northern Gaming Red. They're playing it perfectly. Every time there's a clutch situation, Mangachu just hits a really sick shot or a sick hook just to pull someone out of position, and they're able to solidify their defense, despite the fact that Code7 are playing this high ground really well, with Joe Meister pumping out a ton of damage. In comes the Black Hole though, and they're going to try and solidify onto that one, but unfortunately the shield and the sound barrier are going to mitigate the most of the damage. Wolf and Bread Expert have fallen, but it's two players down from both teams, and JKW shield surely going to get shredded there, and both teams get the res at the exact same time, so it's a reset of the team fight.
Now, once again, we've seen Nicholas in the air, basically trying to rain this hell from above. He's getting the shots in, as well as his team picking up loads of frags all over the place. Code7 looking really hot right now. At the same time, they push them all the way back. Still the high ground being held by Bird, but they're helping that time. He's being damage boost, who's going to be trying to bring down that Reinhardt shield, but it's far too late. Code7 going to be happily taking up that point now. And that's going to be the cart coming out. And really now, I like this by Nicholas. He's already picked up Wolf. You can afford to take some space here at the crossroads. As soon as you pick up that first point, it's really smart actually, cutting them off and trying to take as much territory as you possibly can.
Yeah, you've got to be careful not to overextend too far, but Nicholas and Shake just playing this one perfectly, just damage boosting that Pharah, getting a load of rockets, making sure that they can't take early position on this high ground, and they've actually done it perfectly there as well from Code7, just making sure that they're able to come forward and lock off at least that first bend in the streets phase, and they've actually stopped most of Northern Gaming Red from being able to solidify a position on the high ground of the second bend. And it's so important, it's imperative that you're able to get control of the high ground here, especially when you don't have very much verticality in your team composition. But JKW is going to be leading this one forward. At the same time, hits the Earth Shatter, Mangachu, Bread Expert, and Bird all on the floor, and he's going to be just feasting on those frags.
Those are two very quick kills, make it free. That's going to force out a resurrection now by Naptime as Northern Gaming Red. They're going to try and hold off for as long as they possibly can, but they're losing so many players. Nicholas pops off his barrage in the end, only picking up the one player. Oh, by Mangachu from behind. He's picked up Harblu. Is he going to be able to get any more kills? Yes, indeed, they are, but that's going to be forcing out a resurrection now by code7 as they're trying to take this fight, but it's not going their way whatsoever. JKW, the only man left standing. He's tried to get the kill in. Wolf's going to be the one to pick up that frag as well, and they are absolutely destroying them from that fight. And really, straight off the back of that counter-resurrection there, Sideshow.
And Naptime has almost got it up already again. Bread Expert, so that's going to be both of the support ults. And look at this from Northern Gaming Red, pushing up all the way to the first bend of the checkpoint, making sure that they're absolutely nowhere near the cart that they need to escort. But now just backing it up, making sure that they don't overextend. They had an opportunity to catch them inside this tunnel area, but now all of the ultimates are going to be coming out. The Earth Shatter pops at the same time as the Graviton Surge. Harblu comes in with his Death Blossom as well. Doesn't pick up that many people. The res is now going to come out from Naptime. There isn't one to counter from Shake, but they have popped off their sound barrier. Shake's going to be building it up. Does actually have the res just about now, so going to be able to bring up Harblu and Joe Meister and carry on this fight. And it does look like it's going to go slightly in favor of code7 here, as long as they can take down Mangachu, who has the whole hog still alive. Harblu jumps over the top there. Hellfire shotgun onto his forehead. Goodbye.
I was going to say, I'd be very surprised if code7 didn't manage to take a fight off the back of that. They expelled so many of their ultimates for that. Good to see that they did manage to get the second point. And now we see Harblu. He's creeping and crawling around that corner as that Reaper looking at him. He loves these hiding spots, Harblu. He's a man of many kills. And now this is it. This defense by Northern Gaming Red. They're trying to set up around the corner. They don't actually realize that Harblu's around that corner, and he's not far off his Death Blossom. He's going to try and run in now. Going to get forced back by the concussion blast. And already we've seen Nicholas taking the high ground. He's jumped up, basically spamming from above. code7 really want to try and take this fight to them right now. They have a few ultimates to work off. Nicholas, I should say, he has his barrage available, so they can work off that if they wanted to, but they don't really have any CC ultimates to work off as of just yet. So now both teams really just spamming each other out. We see Harblu right into the back lines. Chance going to be finishing him up, however, as he's trying to get that kill, or at least a Death Blossom. JKW also pushing in so deep. And I think that was just a little bit of a suicide attempt to try and see if they could force out any ultimates if they had any, which they didn't have to defend anyway.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what that play was there from Harblu. He just went diving in, possibly saw an opportunity to get a single frag and trade his life for somebody like Naptime. I'm not sure who his target was in that situation, but he didn't manage to pull anything to fruition. He does now have his Death Blossom up, and they've actually switched Talk over to Widowmaker. He hasn't been able to find a frag just yet, but it can be very effective on this last point. Harblu's going to be in already, but JKW is tossed off the edge. Goodbye.
And as we say that, Harblu is trying to basically pound into Chance there. Chance isn't having any of it. His entire team's there. Brilliant hook by Mangachu as well to finish up Shake, just buying these precious seconds for them. Talk, oh, he's going to find his death as well. Meeting his maker, Mangachu. He knows no mercy, this man, with his hook. He just loves it. He loves the kills, honestly. Mangachu, people talk about Harblu being a good Roadhog player, but Mangachu's definitely up there as well. He honestly does come out time and time again for his team, which is why this matchup is so interesting, actually. Because of these two Roadhog players.
Yeah, definitely, and they're both just going head-to-head at the moment. Harblu, of course, has switched off the Reaper at this point. Talk is damage boosted up top as well on the Widowmaker, and they've got a lot of players coming in. Nicholas on the Farah is going to release his barrage and try and pick up Naptime. Does manage to find that frag, so that's the Resurrect completely denied there. It's out of the picture for Northern Gaming Red, so if everybody from code7 can now regroup and just start pushing the payload on Kings Row back towards the final checkpoint, they're in a great position to take this one, but Naptime has now survived. Not survived, but got back in the fight off the respawn and has that Resurrect back active, using it on a single player. Manages to get Wolf back in the fight on Widowmaker. A bit of a questionable decision, I think. Could have held onto that one for a little longer, and now Shake has his Resurrect in reply, so I'm expecting a bit of an initiation here from code7 when they have maybe one more ultimate to work with.
I think that resurrection was perfectly fine, to be honest. They picked up 2 of these players, but we're actually going to see the Earth Shatter being popped off indoors now. Mangachu with the follow-up back onto JKW. That's going to force out a resurrection now by code7. A little bit earlier than they were anticipating now. I think they're being forced into a fight they don't want to take. Mangachu has actually switched back to D.Va, so he's going to switch onto D.Va, I should say. Wolf picks up the following frag. Shake falling as well to Bird, so that's no mercy whatsoever. They didn't have the resurrection anyway, but still, no heals is a pretty big pick-off when you're taking this fight 1v1, and it looks like Northern Gaming Red, they really just don't care. They're just still pushing all the way up, taking as much space as they can. And really, at this point, with 17 seconds left, Sideshow is looking really, really hard.
It certainly is. This is dire straits now for code7. If they can get back in, they have an opportunity to force the overtime, but there's only 8 seconds left on the clock. They have that Earth Shatter and the Sound Barrier along with the Death Blossom. They're going to pop off the Sound Barrier first of all in order to initiate. They've got a lot of ground off the back of it, and they're damage boosting Nicholas up top on Farah, but Wolf and Chance have already found first frags, and Harblu's been taken out of the situation without being able to get anything off the back of his Death Blossom. Nicholas is going to get caught up as well, and this is going to be a successful defense on Kings Row from Northern Gaming Red, and that's a fantastic way to set off the series and prove to everybody that you are not the underdogs in this situation and deserve a lot of respect.
Absolutely, really well played there for Northern Gaming Red. There's an incredible defense from what we saw towards the end. It is difficult to push into that last point in Kings Row, so you can't give all the credit to Northern Gaming Red. You know, once you're playing against these teams that don't make these mistakes, it is difficult to push straight in. But now, code7, they're going to have their turn. They've got to defend it for a little while. They're definitely capable of it, Sideshow. I can definitely see them doing this because from what we've seen before of them, especially in the Beat Invitational, they are an incredibly capable team. We can't count them out just yet.
No, we certainly can't. If they're able to hold on to checkpoint 2 and stop the cart being pushed more than 62.59 meters, get your tape measures out, boys, then they will have a successful defense. But it's going to be fairly difficult. Kings Row is often a map that teams are able to complete. I'd say that it was more attack favored than it is defensively favored. So it's definitely code7 here that are on the back foot after a great defense from Northern Gaming Red. But as for what they are pulling out on the defense, if they can knock off as much time as possible on checkpoint A or even stall them out completely, that will just be perfect for them. So they got Harblu on that Roadhog along with Nicholas on Farah. So that's going to be the interesting one for me, is how Nicholas and Shake sync up in their defense on this first checkpoint.
Yeah, and right now it's all going to be on this first defense. If you can like pull them out into even like 2 minutes, I call that a successful first defense at the end of the day. And we see Nicholas on the Farah. He's very well accustomed to it. Harblu as well on the Roadhog. No surprises there. Only the solo support, Shake on the Mercy. What's interesting to me now is we see these attackers. We see Wolf. Is he going to stick with it? No, he's going to switch to McCree. So I was wondering a bit then if he was going to stick with the Genji, but no. They are going to be moving in, rolling out straight away. They've got the speed boost from Bread Expert. They can really decide to take this any way they like now. And at this point, you see these teams, they will purposely take damage to try and build up their resurrections to initiate onto. Chance basically exchanging out the fire strikes now, waiting for an opportunity to work off, and neither team really wants to make the move as of yet.
And both teams just kind of feeling each other out. Chance and Mangachu looking for an opportunity to engage. Mangachu, if he can land a hook, that'll be a great way to initiate the fight. And they just saw a whiff of Joe Meister there, and Mangachu decided that he wasn't going to chase him. Bird actually wins a 1v1 on the Soldier 76 fight, and that is going to start the initiation. Harblu gets a better end than Mangachu though, although he does fall himself, and an early resurrect is going to come out here from the code7 roster. That's going to allow Chance and Bread Expert the opportunity to play around this point area, and Harblu may get caught out a little bit isolated around this statue.
Yeah, this is a bit difficult for them right now. Harblu is actually going to be paying with his life. That's 2 frags you can't afford to lose when you're trying to defend here right now. code7 in a bit of trouble here. Mangachu just picking off player after player. Nicholas also going down. Chance going to be finishing up Talk, and this cap, Sideshow, is pretty much already capped. And look at this, already Bird pushing all the way up. Joe Meister is going to find that frag on him, but the follow-up, the counter kill there by Mangachu, so he's going to be paying with his life. And once again, we see these teams, they're not wasting any time, pushing all the way up. I don't think they realise the Roadhog on the flank here, though. Look at this. This is interesting. Harblu waiting above. He's got the hook. No, the counter's gone to Mangachu and the stun, so he's going to be brought down. And that's another frag that they can't afford to lose. Really, losing these players in this situation is not good when you're trying to get a solid defense.
I actually haven't seen Roadhog play this good out of Mangachu before. He's really just styling on people on code7 at the moment, just landing all of these really clutch hooks and backed up so well by the rest of his team. The communication on Northern Gaming Red, you can tell, is sublime, because as soon as he's able to hook somebody in that situation, there's always somebody there ready to help him. But in comes the engagement from code7 now, and Harblu does get pinned up against the wall a little bit. He has now switched over to Winston, going to be seeing what he can get done, but it's everybody on Northern Gaming Red pulling out all of the frags, forces out the revive as well here, Brent.
Yeah, absolutely. This is going to be a bit of a reset now as we see Harblu. He has managed to finish up the chance, and here comes the Resurrect now coming out by Naptime as they're still trying to take this fight. At the same time, Harblu has switched to the Winston, and he's actually on the back lines. Nobody's stopping him, this absolute madman. He's managed to finish up Naptime as well for a second time now, so that's no mercy. Mangachu getting hook after hook has finished up Shake, however. So this push now is looking pretty good now for the Northern Gaming Reds. I cannot see code7 stopping it in the slightest after that. Those few misplays that they made, letting those players get in behind the enemy lines.
Well, there's no chance they're going to stop it before checkpoint 2 here, so that dream is dead in the water. But now they have to... Oh no, Harblu actually is going to try and engage. They're going to try and block it from even being capped here and take a little more time off the clock. With Harblu going forward, that bought enough time for JKW and his shield to arrive on the scene. He's going to cement his position down on here, but Mangachu with the whole hog going to be pushing everybody back with shredding shields wherever he walks, and allows all of the rest of his team to get into a big earth shatter as well from Chance, Nox, Talk, and the Lucio Joemeister down onto his back.
Yeah, they need to back out now. They've already got the cap, so that means they're going to have the forward spawns. Any fight they take here is going to be absolutely terrible for them. Chance, he's chasing the frags down. He's already got 2. He's looking for more. He can smell the blood in the water. The entirety of his team are moving up. He's trying to get the pin onto JKW. Really just playing with death itself here. Talk has managed to finish up Mangachu, however, so that might prompt the passive play by Chance. In fact, Chance is going to be falling as well. So now they might be able to capitalize off this, but the Resurrection has been popped up by Naptime. Here comes the sound barrier now by code7 as they're trying to defend this to the best of their abilities. Harblu gets pinned, but it doesn't matter anyway because they're getting frag after frag, kill after kill. Everyone is dead on the side of Northern Gaming Red, and they really have to start backing off here now, Sideshow.
I really don't think this is an issue, though, for Northern Gaming Red. They're in a absolutely sublime position to take this map. They still have 5 minutes left, or just under, and all they have to do is push it another 30 meters, or, you know, take it all the way if they like, but that's all they have to do in order to take this first map in the best of 5 fixture here in the iBUYPOWER Summer Invitational, and they're looking in a great position to take this one, although Nicholas and JKW have something to say about that. But Chance again with a brilliant earth shatter is going to be able to take both of them and plonk them on the floor. Now can they set up and finish off these frags? Nicholas just destroyed instantly as soon as he was able to come out of that resurrect. Invulnerability was taken down, and everybody from Northern Gaming Red just setting up to re-attack this card.
Absolutely. This fight has just been going on for so long. Wolf has managed to find 1 frag at least, make it a second one as he's picked up JKW as well. So these are 2 very big kills for them. Make it 3. Bird's going to be finishing up Talk. They cannot afford to be losing these players now as it's pushing all the way in. Now they've got to wait for the spawns now. code7, they've got 1 last defense. Chance gets the pin onto Nicholas before he can even react and completely mushes him against the wall. Wolf picks up Harblu with the Deadeye in the end. The Resurrection not going to be coming out. The sound barrier to finish it up. JKW is 1 man against the world. He's going to be falling as well. And here comes the tactical vibes. It's not going to be enough. That is going to be game set, well, not game set match, but it's going to be map number 1 at least, going the way of Northern Gaming Red with really quite an impressive fashion.
Yeah, great stuff from Northern Gaming Red to be able to pull this one out of the bag straight away. If they wanted, we said in the pregame, if they wanted to take this fixture, they really had to cement their position and take some early maps, because as it gets later and later into it, when the control maps start coming out, it's going to be fairly difficult for them. Well, they've certainly proved themselves there with a victory on King's Row. That was their pick. They wanted to start off strong on King's Row. They thought they could bring it to code7, and they have managed to. But they're going to have to hold on to this one because they need 3 maps from this fixture in order to go on to the semi-final tomorrow. And that one is going to be super tricky. I mean, even if they manage to get there, they have to face Envious. But let's not even think about that. They have to deal with their current enemy at the moment, and that's code7.
Yeah, and I think Hollywood, the map we're going to be going into, is as good a map as any to test them on here. I definitely knew it was going to be a close game between these 2 teams, especially these first 3 maps. So I think, again, it could go either way right now. Northern Gaming Red could lose it, Northern Gaming Red could win it. Honestly, it all depends on how they're feeling. But off the back of a victory like that, you've got to be feeling pretty hot. And momentum does go quite far in any competitive game. It doesn't matter what you're playing.
Certainly does. The mind games start to come into it as well, but I don't think code7 are going to be that rattled. It's a best of 5 at the end of the day. We're not playing best of 3 where a single map is halfway to victory. This is a best of 5, so they do have to dig pretty deep here still, Northern Gaming Red, to be able to take this one. But certainly a victory on either Hollywood or Dorado, the next 2 maps that we're going to, would be big for them, because then they only have to take a single one of the control maps. But equally for code7, they're going to have to start getting back into the game. They need to get their heads in the game, because they got stunted on that offense completely, and there's great potential on Hollywood to get stunted completely on the offense as well. If Northern Gaming Red are able to come up with some kind of defense in the last stage, as they were on King's Row, then Hollywood could look pretty nasty.
I think Hollywood last is a bit harder to hold from, simply because you can come in from above, you can initiate from so many different more angles, whereas King's Row is pretty much just all congregated down that main lane. So it is harder to push into King's Row than Hollywood. I think the real challenge for most teams is pushing into Hollywood first. That's where they really start to struggle, and I think it's interesting to see the way different teams play it. I saw Envy the other day ran a Symmetra on the first defense, which you don't really see too often, but given how choke pointy it is, you can get a teleporter up like in no time at all, and it can really hang up some teams, and they really struggle to take care of it. Whether I see any of these teams take it out, pull out that Symmetra strategy, I don't know. They seem incredibly aggressive, and I think that doesn't really suit their play style, if that makes sense. They definitely favour Roadhog, and they sort of build their team around these Roadhog picks. So I feel like a Symmetra wouldn't really complement that too much.
You do see a lot of teams on Hollywood on the first defense running that Symmetra and Junkrat kind of play on the first point at least. You used to see it a little bit more, maybe a month, 2 months ago. It was really the prevalent strategy, but it's kind of slipped out of fashion a little bit now, because the offensive teams just decide to run a really high tempo offense and take the point from you almost immediately. We saw it in the previous fixture that we covered as well with LG against Nubris, where Nubris had a really lightning fast offense on Hollywood and completely crushed the Symmetra and Junkrat play. I don't know about these two teams. I feel like they'll be more comfortable playing it kind of solid, but at the same time, both of the flex players of Mangachu and Harblu, I think, are perfectly comfortable on Junkrat and would do an excellent job. At the same time, they're also very good at a multitude of classes, so I wouldn't say that particularly pens them into any strategy over another. But we'll take a look at that. We've also seen some stellar Genji play on Hollywood today in that LG Nubris game, which I hope is going to be replicated, because Genji is such a fun hero to watch flying around the map. Yeah, no, it is always entertaining to see a Genji, especially because the skill ceiling of the hero is so absolutely high. But very rarely you do see it. It's very situational. It's usually if the enemy team's running a Widowmaker, Genji is a good counter to it, or if you're running a very high mobility lineup, which, as you mentioned, we may see. This is how teams like to crack into this first Hollywood defense. Envious are definitely pretty much the masters of this. When they jump in with the Winston right into the backlines, they get one DPS pick off and they work straight off that. But this is really interesting. Now, look at this defensive lineup. We're not going to see, as we suspected, no Symmetra. Harblu on the Roadhog, no surprises there once again. But ultimately, pretty standard. Yeah, very standard for the classic Hollywood defense. The Soldier 76 is really powerful on this map. You have a huge amount of high ground to be able to play from. You can see Talk at the moment all the way up there, probably as high as you can possibly get with Soldier 76. But also playing from the lower high ground as well, just around this cafe area, is perfectly acceptable. You can get a lot of damage out there, so a huge amount of sustained DPS from Soldier 76 in this situation, and he's going to be syncing up with Harblu and Joemeister, running a triple DPS, but it's also more like a quad DPS when you factor in Harblu as well. That Roadhog is just basically like a big fat DPS player.
Absolutely, they're not wasting any time whatsoever, already getting the big wraparound right into that upper area. Now Mangachu is slowly creeping and crawling around the corner, seeing if he can get one hook off, but code7 there They're very smart and they're very caught onto it, so they're not going to let anyone get picked off too easily just yet. And now we're seeing this bit of a stalemate. Both teams are trying to build up their Resurrect. Shake currently holding the ultimate advantage by about 20%, but really that's not enough to work off as the ultimate does charge that quickly. And now we see them trying to work their way around. That's the exact pick they needed. They can pick off Shake. Oh, that was so close. That was unbelievable. If they got that one pick, that would have been absolutely brilliant for them. And now they're going to try and take it once again. If they can, the barrier is going to go down for Chance now, so really need to start trying to back off if they can. The pin comes in. He's picked up Torque in the end. One DPS player down. Harbley with the counter frag. Birds as well, going to be finishing up JKW. His frag's going all over the place. Nicholas, he's already built up his barrage, and he's finished up so many players because of it. Followed up with that resurrection. Shake, really the master of plays there with that just one resurrect, resetting the fight.
And by the time Nap Time and the rest of his team are in a position to use the Resurrect, Shake is also going to have his. So it's not like that was even wasted. There are situations where it's perfectly fine if you get the frag onto the opposing Mercy just to burn yours, make sure everybody stays in the fight and you have 6 players alive.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, once again, we see a little bit of a stalemated situation. JKW has finished up Red Expert, so that's no Lucio to initiate onto. Chance is going to get the pin. Beautiful. Straight onto JKW. At the same time, the Deadeye by Wolf not going to be connected onto anyone, unfortunately. As well as that, the Tactical Visor coming out by both these team soldiers as they're trying to basically take these frags. As a Resurrect now is going to be popped off by code7 as they're going to see it try and take this fight any way they possibly can. Nap Time finally flies in before falling. The Earth Shatter as well popped off onto Chance and Mangachu. Do they have the damage to follow it up? I think, and yes, indeed, they do. They do. Chance is going to try and charge them in. Not going to be happening at all as Talk is the one to finish up that one player. And once again, we're going to have to see code7, or I should say Northern Gaming Red, they're going to have to back off, take their time, take a breather, and look to repush once they've got a little bit more of an ultimate advantage.
Yeah, maybe they need to think about approaching this from a different way as well. Perhaps a security push would be slightly better with the lineup that they have, but they're actually just going to go straight on the point once again. The whole hog comes out, backed up by Chance's shield, and a Deadeye from Wolf trying to zone out as many players as he possibly can as they get the cap time. Harblue just pops out there and takes the 1v1 against Chance. Does manage to get that frag there, and only Nicholas has fallen from the code7 roster at the moment. They are managing to hold strong with this defense once again.
That was big by Nicholas there, picking up those two frags straight onto Nap Time as well. I mean, they had to immediately back off, and Harblue there picking up Mangachu in the back lines. That's just the icing on the cake, really, isn't it? It's going to be delaying their push even more when they cannot afford to. There's 55 seconds remaining for Northern Gaming Red to try and get a push in here, and really they've got only about 2 more pushes left. Chance now, he's put the shield up, he's going to start to try and initiate in for his team, taking up all the damage if they potentially can. They have hardly any ultimates to work off. We're going to see Mangachu on the Winston jumping into the backline, seeing if they can take up even one DPS player will be enough. Hulk being popped off by Harblue now as he's trying to get as many kills as they possibly can. A lot of frags coming out already. That's going to force out the Resurrect now as it's really last ditch effort. The counter res is also coming out now by code7. So once again, another reset. Bird with his Tactical Visor is going to get hooked by Harblue. So really, that last-ditch effort, I think, can they even do this, Sideshow? Do they even have one more attempt out of this? 13 seconds remaining.
They absolutely have to go for it, though. Even if they're rushed, even if there's not everybody in the push, they have to go for it. Chance is taken out before he even reaches the point. The Earth Shatter doesn't actually catch anybody, but with Wolf just Wraith forming onto the point and this barrage raining down from above, there's no hope here. And it is going to be code7 who lock them out with an absolutely phenomenal defense on the first point of Hollywood.
That was honestly ridiculous. As we mentioned, the first point is the hardest for pretty much every team to crack, and we definitely saw it there. They were struggling, really. I think a lot of it comes down to not knowing who to initiate onto when they were diving straight into these fights. We saw it towards the end. I think Mangachu was hopping off onto the Winston, and he was trying to get that pick off onto the DPS player right at the end. But yeah, ultimately too late, too little. And moving on from that, we're going to be seeing them rolling straight into now swap sides. So hopefully Northern Gaming Red can pull out another miracle defense.
Well, they will absolutely have to pull out a miracle defense if they want to have a chance at tying this map up. because they managed to push. They didn't even manage to capture the point, so they didn't manage to push the card whatsoever. Their score is 0 with 0.00 meters. You can't get much worse than that on an offense of Hollywood. And again, we didn't see any real switch-ups from the team. They were trying to just plow their way in with Chance and then have Mangachu follow in behind and the two DPS characters. But I think once they had actually managed to lock people off, they were lacking a lot of DPS. I would have liked to see, if they want to lead with Chance and play on around the point, I would have liked to see a Genji actually in that situation, or possibly even a McCree rather than the Soldier 76, because they were trying to play at a really fast tempo but also trying to lock people out of the situation. So I think they were lacking a bit of burst DPS in that sense. But they could have ran with a different tank as well. They didn't have to keep Chance on Reinhardt the entire time. They could have switched him off to a Winston. Anyway, let's take a look at the defense from Northern Gaming Red, because they have to pull a miracle out of the bag here. They've got Wolf on Reaper and Bird on Soldier 76, and they're going to be hoping for a miracle. Harblu and Nicholas not going to be in the mood to give them one though, as they are looking to enter through this choke with a few bubbles provided by Talk.
Yeah, and now here we are. This is it. The team's starting to roll out right around this corner. The same, pretty much what we saw of the previous round. Talk just trying to basically build up that Graviton Surge. As soon as he gets that, they can make off one big push. But right now, both teams just waiting it out. Gonna start spamming each other. There's the speed boost in. The charge by JKW not connecting onto anyone. Can they get the damage? Talk is the one to fall in the first place. Chance the one to pick up that frag. Mangachu with the follow-up onto Harblu. Chance also finishes up JKW. So this defense looking pretty strong so far, as Shake is also going to be the last one to pay with his life.
Well, that is a good beginning there for Northern Gaming Red. They just have to repeat that for the next 3 minutes and they'll be perfectly fine. But they might be hard-pressed to do that. And now Shake is in a position where he has the Resurrect. They're going to go for yet another offense here. Just making sure that they're building up their ultimates at the same time as trying to make these offenses work as they get speed boosted forward. JKW taking a bit of ground, and he's got Talk behind it. The Graviton Surge could make the difference here. It's something that Northern Gaming Red didn't even consider. They didn't have a Zarya at any point, but you can provide a lot of damage, and that ultimate is so good. But look at that ultimate from Chance as he pins Talk against the wall off the back of the Earth Shatter, and then JKW goes flying into the air. But in comes the Resurrect, and we're going to have the fight part 2.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's the trouble with popping all your ultimates off before the Resurrect comes out. Great pin by JKW there, finishing up Wolf in the end before he got off his death cross. And both these teams popping up their sound barrier. Nicholas with the barrage as well. He's picked up 2. Nap time and Chance falling. Here comes the tactical vibes of the Earth Shatter. Not connecting onto anyone. Bird, unfortunately, is going to be falling as well. A nice little pin by JKW straight onto Bread Expert as well. And that's going to be finishing him up straight away. If they cap this, it's game over. And they are capping it, Sideshow, and that is going to be game straight up. Another map, very, very quick compared to what we've been used to, but this time going in the way of Code 7.
Yeah, that one was phenomenally quick. I mean, they just instantly wipe at the beginning defense, and then a stellar offense as well. So wrapping Hollywood up really quickly there, Code 7 was instantly rallying themselves, making sure that they don't lose any momentum going into the second map, and they've tied up the series 1-1.
Yeah, well, that is going to be that map at least. So we are going to see, we do have a game on our hands at least. It is going to be 1-0 to both these teams now. Going into the next map, what was the next map? Dorado, I believe, wasn't it? Yeah.
It is,
so,
yes.
Another pretty much El Clasico, and we might see a repeat of last time, but I think the first stage on Dorado is a lot easier to break into compared to Hollywood.
Yes, it is. But at the same time, in terms of pure escort maps, the first point of Dorado is actually fairly difficult. When you have to push it up the slope area with a few different flanking routes, and the fact that the roadhogs for both of these two teams are really quite good, it could be difficult. I see teams having a lot of difficulty pushing this first one. I think both of these two teams are gonna, I don't think they're going to be running the Symmetra Junkrat defense. I think they're just going to be running kind of a similar setup to the one they had on Hollywood.
Yeah.
But Mangachu and Harblu, I feel like we talked about them a lot, but at the same time, they are fairly key for their teams, and they're going to be running the Roadhog again on Dorado, I can only imagine, because it's so important to lock down kind of that top plateau area to make sure that nobody can get the high ground from the offensive team. If they're able to take down the hog from either side, there's a possibility of cracking that one open. But I think this game may come down to how quickly they can break the first defense, given what we've seen from both teams so far.
Yeah, 100%. No, I agree with you 100%. In a way, it is really momentum-based, Dorado. You do see a little bit of a break in it when you cap the first point and you cap the second. But other than that, really, if you get a good start, if you get the ball rolling, you're gonna be pretty good. Good to go for pretty much throughout the entirety of the game, and especially because you have the capabilities of basically cutting them off on the forward spawns if you get a good wipe at the first point. So moving on from that, we are going to be going into Dorado. A great map. It's been around for pretty much, I think it's been around for the entirety of Overwatch from the start of the beta, hasn't it? Was it one of the first?
Everyone loves Dorado. Yeah, I think so. I remember teams playing on this right at the beginning, so unless my memory is faulty, I think so. And the teams are getting ready now, so it's going to be code7 initially on the offense with Northern Gaming Red on defense, and they actually are running the Symmetra. So this one's going to be interesting. They also don't have a Junkrat, but they do have Mangachu on the hog. He confused me there for a second because he was playing Lucio. I thought, no, surely not. We've never seen Mangachu on the Lucio role as far as I'm aware. So Mangachu's gonna probably be helping out the support of Bread Expert down this left hand side where the teleport is normally positioned in the house. And that does kind of leave the side route open a little bit. So if I'm the offensive team of code7 in this situation, I'd be trying to manipulate that kind of area. You know, the back square area where you can get up onto this staircase, and could be open a little bit.
And we do see them. They're going to start to roll out now. The high ground defense, as you mentioned, not really showing too much room to breathe here. They are holding really far back, actually, and it is the common hold for teams these days. I like the Symmetra pickup. I think it is suitable here, maybe more so on Hollywood, but clearly they just weren't comfortable running it, and straight away it's just really waiting for one side's Roadhog to get the pick over the other.
Oh, and the hook immediately comes out there from Harbley, but unfortunately not able to drag Chance in through the window, and so only does about 3/4 of his health. But they've done so well at getting that cart up the slope, and again, Nicholas is able to get around on that left-hand side without much difficulty. Harbley's able to push his way in as well and take down Chance, who was attempting to guard some of the Symmetra's turrets and make sure that they have the ability to place the teleporter down if required. Mangachu's actually not the one that seems to be on Symmetra duty. They've got their main tank over there instead of Chance, but as soon as the teleporter's live, we'll see whether that changes. And it has been placed, but it's been placed completely over the other side of the one that I was expecting, so much further back, but in a slightly safer position.
Oh, this is it. This is the initiation. Mangachu's going to be jumping straight in. Whole hog popped off by him as well. Seeing if he can pick up any of these kills. Bird with the follow-up frag onto JKW. Talk also getting a kill onto Chance in the end. And really pushing the entirety of this defense all the way around now. They're in a bit of a sticky situation here because they're sandwiched in between these two teams. The teleport is also going to be falling to Nicholas as he's got right on top of it. So that is exactly not what they needed for that defense whatsoever. The cart is getting pushed in pretty much rapid timing now, and it's ultimately only a few of them left. Earthshatter connects onto two. Can they get the follow-up damage? So that is the question. Mangachu, I should say Harbley's going to be popping off now. Along with the sound barrier, he's going to be popping off his whole hog, seeing if they get any damage to Resurrect now by nap time as he's flown in. The Graviton Surge connects onto two, maybe two, actually, I'm not too sure. It's a bit of a mismatch of ultimates in there, but ultimately, Sideshow, they are absolutely crushing them, and that's going to be the first count, no questions asked.
Yeah, they have stormed through this first section. The entirety of Dorado you can get hung up on. There's multiple positions where the defense is able to rally themselves, but for now, the first demon has been vanquished and they are able to capture that first checkpoint. So rolling this one forwards, they still have a lot of time on the clock as well. Managed to cap that one up in about the second or third team fight that they managed to take, so great stuff from them. Northern Gaming Red have an opportunity though to slow them down. We've seen stellar defenses from them on the previous map of King's Row. We'll see if they can do it on this one.
And ultimately we're going to see them holding up on that upper bridge area. It's the correct hold to do, and it is quite difficult to push into. We might see the counter initiation. It's actually a hook by Harbley coming out onto Chance. That's going to be the first kill in the end. Mangachu jumping down, trying to save his friend in the process, but he might actually pay with his life as well. In fact, he's forced to leap all the way back. Another hook as well as Harbley. He's just hitting them one after the other. He finished up Bird. Can he hunt for any more? Nicholas with the kill onto Mangachu, and these are not kills. You can't afford to lose these players when they're pushing this far in. They've lost two of their core DPS players, and now ultimately look at this cart. It's been pushed all the way in. They cannot contest it. That's going to be another cap in very, very quick time.
Yeah, super quick. They're just steamrolling their way forwards at the moment, making sure that they push this momentum as far forwards as they can. Nap Time went down on the defense along with Chance, and that's given Shake a bit of a resurrect advantage. I don't think it's going to make much difference, though, because Nap Time should be able to build his up by the time they get into a teamfight scenario, but Nicholas is going to just threaten to engage there and instead raid form out, join with the rest of his team. This is the opportunity for Northern Gaming Red to defend, though. They've got the pick onto Harblue, and they have the high ground.
Absolutely. Now, really, this could not be a better situation for them. They're going to choose to drop down and try and initiate into them now. Chance taking the forward momentum. Mangachu also going to be shooting down that shield, trying to basically get in any damage he potentially can. And we are going to see once again they're resetting. They're going to be playing a bit safe. They know they can't follow them too much, otherwise it would be a little bit difficult. And this is the initiation now by code7. They're starting to work their way into this upper area, but the entirety of Northern Gaming Red is there to meet them. It's going to be really hard for them to crack open this defense, but they're going to try and do it anyway. We see the stun coming out. And here comes the soundbar, the initiation. The Earthshatter connects up to 3. The charge is putting in so much damage. Chance, that was an absolute massive play. You absolute madman. And Nicholas has finished him up in the end, but that's brought so much time for his team. The resurrection now going to be popped off for them to see if they can try and retake this. There's 3 players now. That time falling in the process of that to Joe Meister. There's no resurrection for Northern Gaming Red to try and reset this fight whatsoever. Harblue going to be popping off his whole hog to complete avail there. They've absolutely decimated them. Chance is pretty much the only savior for this team, but he's going to be falling as well, Sideshow. And whoa, this boy was too late there, but here comes the sound barrier. They're trying to take this fight once again. Red Expert is doing his hardest to try and contest this cart, and I think Northern Gamer Red, they might be able to stabilize here, Sideshow.
Those double ults there from Naptime and Bread Expert absolutely saved that situation. It was looking so good for code7, and then the Resurrect came in at the same time as the sound barrier, and they managed to get the entirety of their team super healthy and on the point in a great position to defend. So just as code7 were about to win their third checkpoint and secure a time on offense, they get the opportunity snuffed out from right under their nose. And they now have to push all over again.
It's going to be difficult. They used a lot of ultimates for it. Harblue's moving forward, seeing if he can get the hook. He has managed to find Mangachu, but he is just going to shift away, and he is going to be able to get out and get the heals he needs. And now the cart is going to slowly start to get contested by Nicholas. The high ground still being held by code7 here as they are trying to contest this. Harblu on the flank, seeing if he can hit off any hooks at all. JKW finds the first kill onto Wolf. Earthshatter doesn't connect onto anyone, connecting onto absolutely no one. JKW gets the pin as well. Hole pops off by Harblu as he pushes it in. It's a complete decimation, Sideshow. It's only Wolf left alive, and he's just respawned, and that's going to be game. That was incredibly hard for Northern Gaming Red to defend, but they did well for what they could.
Yeah, that one, I mean, they clutched it right at the end there and bought themselves about another 30 seconds or something like that, but overall, that was actually a fairly good time there on Dorado from code7. They weren't hung up too much on the initial first point defense. They managed to roll it all the way through the second without being slowed down really at all, and then in the third checkpoint it pretty much only took them 2 team fights and then that final little push over the line. So I don't think that's an unreasonable time whatsoever, and Northern Gaming Red going to be hard pressed to match that one. Yeah,
no, they played really well. I'm impressed by code7 most of all, really cracking open that Symmetra defense. The Symmetra pick, I don't think it was the best for it because the teleporter immediately went down to Nicholas in that engagement, so it wasn't the best. But now we're going to see the sides are swapped once again. We're going to see the teams try and basically defend this time all the way if they possibly can, but it's all on Northern Gaming Red right now.
Well, Northern Gaming Red are going to be spending a bit of time wondering which team composition to run on the offense. code7, though, are forced to get their players into position a little earlier. So we know what they're going to be running. Harblu on the Roadhog once again, with JKW backing him up on the main tank of Reinhardt. They've got 3 DPS players and just playing that single support at the moment, whereas on the side of Northern Gaming Red, they do have Bread Expert up on Lucio, as well as Naptime playing that double support, as you see most teams doing at the moment. A lot of teams, they flirt with the single support, but don't bring it out full time. The Lucio Mercy combo is considered the classic, but it's going to be code7 to show us how that single support can work in a lot of these situations by freeing up all of your other players to do damage.
Yeah, and once again, It's interesting to see Dorado is evolved from players holding quite close and in the high ground, and now they just don't even attempt it. They hold all the way back off in this court area, and we're going to see these teams, they're spamming it out, they're going to be taking damage on purpose, as we do see. They're trying to build up the ultimates as soon as possible, and seeing if they can basically work off that. As the first team to get the ultimate can really take the initiation here. JKW is going to be taking up a lot of this spam. Both teams, they've almost brought down his shield. In fact, they are. They're going to get the frag as well. The kill onto him. Joe Meister now trying to follow up, see if he can pick off a second player now, but it's actually Mangachu picks up Shake in the back lines. So that is not what they needed whatsoever. The Mercy going down. This defense is looking very, very rough now, right now, for Northern Gaming Red.
Wow, they just got obliterated. Joe Meister is the last player really in a position to do anything. Harblu hooks Mangachu out of the air after he had just used his barrage, and JKW is coming back in, but the res is going to pick up Mangachu once again. Chance knocks down JKW with the Earth Shatter, and surely Mangachu is going to get picked up in the back lines as well. Sorry, not Mangachu, Harblu in the back lines. He's just going toe-to-toe with Chance. He's actually just dodging and juking around. He's managed to pick up Wolf as well. Great little hook there, and uses his whole hog to shred the shield and destroy Chance. Pins him up against the wall. So that's stellar play from the Roadhog of Harblu.
He is playing out of his mind a little bit then. I thought it was all over. It was what looked like a 3v1 on the cart towards the end there. I honestly thought that was going to be game, seeing Shake go down in the meantime. But Harblu steps it up once again. He gets the frags, he plays it well, he dodges and jukes, and he does ultimately save it for his team in the end, picking up basically 3 solo kills in the end. And now they don't even know he's there. He's picked up the hook onto Chance. Hasn't managed to find the kill, unfortunately, but that's going to scare them a little bit, make them back off. The concussion blasters push Chance forward, follow over the Earth Shatter. Here comes Nicholas now with the barrage. Is he going to be able to pick up any kills? Yes, indeed he do. He is, but it's Bird, the one to get the counter kill onto him. So he is going to be falling in the end. And now, really, Northern Gaming Red, they want to take the fight straight to them here. But it's not working out too much for them whatsoever.
They had some great opportunities in the previous team fights, but just couldn't quite close it out. And it's credit to the players from code7 that they're able just to stagger their deaths towards the end when it's obvious that the fight isn't going their way, and put themselves in a position where they can buy time for the respawners. Look at this heads-up play from Harblu once again. Realizes that everybody's coming up this staircase area and just backs off away with the rest of his team. Has bought that intel, and now they know where to focus all of their spam. But the speed boost and the sound barrier are going to come in this situation. Joe Meister attempts to deflect some of that, does a lot of damage with his death blossom, but hasn't picked up a frag. Just gets one on Chance there at the end, but Wolf's going to pick up 2 there, including the frag onto Shake. So only 3 players left alive, but in comes the big res from nap time as well.
We're going to see another reset. Here comes the Earthshatter now by Chance. He's trying to connect it. Great pin by him straight onto JKW before he could even react. That's going to be 1 kill for them. And now this cart is going to be pushed in. Doesn't matter what they choose to do. And ultimately, right now, they look at this space they're taking straight away. You see Mangachu moving all the way far forward, seeing if they can catch off any stragglers, potentially create even more time for them right now.
Yeah, they are going to try and move as far forward as they possibly can and lock off a bit of the position. Mangachu using his concussion blast to knock people off the high ground as well, but Harblu is now on Winston and going to be trying to re-engage into them. Has found Mangachu up top there, and Mangachu gets destroyed by a face rocket by Nicholas, but Wolf is in the back lines. He's going to be able to take down Shake. Not going to be able to do too much damage over to Nicholas there. Should get taken out, in fact, is going to die in the end, but managed to get the frag there onto the mercy of Shake. That's going to slow things down a little bit for the defense.
Yeah, now right now it is a case of, look at this again, you see him hiding around the corner. It's actually Torque seeing if he can get any damage, and they haven't spotted him. The barrage also by Mangachu is going to finish him up in the end, and it's going to push a few of the players back now as they're trying to take this if they can. Chance charges in, seeing if he can get the initiation for his team, but completely misses all of them. Here's the rocket barrage by Nicholas, however, as he hasn't connected onto absolutely anyone. The team is completely scattered on the side of the Northern Gaming Red now as they're trying to push this into the best of their abilities. JKW finds nap time in the process. Primal Rage going to be popped off as well by Harblu as he's trying to basically clear them off this point if they can, but really right now the resurrection is going to get popped off by Shake, so they have a bit of a reset once again. Sound barrier followed up with the Earth Shatter, but it's not connecting up onto anyone. This fight is just being prolonged right now, and it's not going either side's way right now, Sideshow.
And this is just taking more and more time off the clock here. JKW and Chance swinging hammers at each other, seeing who will come out on top of that one. JKW dropped down to half health, but does come out on top of his opposing Reinhardt. Chance And this is looking like a stellar defense. They're just taking as much time off the clock as they possibly can, and it is GG. There is no way that they can push this one to the end, and it's a victorious map for code7 on Dorado.
Yeah, no, again, really, really well played by code7. Something I was expecting, to be honest. I did think they were going to be the stronger team coming into us, but these games, they haven't been a complete roll. They've definitely been close, even though the scores might not show it just yet. And I think the next map that we're going to see is probably going to be the one to show, well, it is going to be the one to show which team is probably going to win it, because if code7 take it, they're going to take the game overall and going to be moving into the semi-finals. But, you know, I think Northern Gaming Red, they do have the capabilities to do it.
Yeah, they possibly could take this one. It's going to be difficult for them, though, on Lijiang Tower. If you guys have just joined us, though, we are covering the iBUYPOWER Summer Invitational brought to you by Intel. And iBUYPOWER also have a global giveaway going on at the moment where you can win some fat swag, some really cool hardware prizes, actually. If you take a look, if you just scroll down on the Twitch page, you can see a big button that says Global Giveaway. That'll take you over to the iBUYPOWER website, or you can visit it just by typing in the URL iBUYPOWER.com, and you can take a look at the giveaway that they're running over there, just to celebrate the fact that they currently have this tournament going on. And we're also going to be covering it tomorrow. The giveaway lasts 2 days, but 2 days only, and that includes today. So get yourselves over there and get yourselves entered really quickly, because there's some fat swag on offer, and somebody's got to win it, Brent. Someone's got to win it.
Are we allowed to enter this? Is this a thing?
Yeah, we had this debate before. I think so. You know, I'd feel robbed if we weren't.
I really need a new graphics card, so I don't know. I might hit this up after this cast. You know, try and snake me some deals. So yeah, none of you guys steal it from me, please. But it's going to be Lijiang Tower is going to be the next map we're going to be moving into, and that's King of the Hill. Both these teams, I'm not too sure how this is going to go, because they like to play this aggressive play style. King of the Hill definitely favors that. I have a feeling this is going to be messy.
Yeah, it could well be. I mean, when we looked at the map stats before the game in the pre-show, the Northern Gaming Red had pretty abysmal records so far on the control maps. It didn't look like that was really the strong point for them. The strong point for them was kind of the hybrid and the escort maps. And although they had a great showing on King's Row, they completely they were like a piece of origami. They folded utterly on Hollywood and weren't able to crack the first point offense whatsoever in the full time. And on Dorado as well, unfortunately, weren't able to push quick enough. It wasn't that they failed on the offense completely. They just weren't fast enough to beat code7's time. So given that code7 have come out better on the maps that statistically favor Northern Gaming Red, I've got to say that code7 have the advantage going into Lijiang Tower here. They could wrap it up here in 4 maps.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, as we mentioned before, if I was to give my prediction, it would be that code7 were most likely going to take it. I'm interested to see what they're going to run, depending on which section of Lijiang Tower we end up on. Is it set in a set order, or is it still randomized?
It's still all randomized. Yeah. You gotta love Blizzard. They like to add a little random factor in wherever they possibly can, just to trigger as many people as possible. But yeah, it's also going to be played in a best of 5 format as well, guys, if you haven't seen us play Control in this tournament so far. So it is the first team to 3 rounds. So as we go into Lijiang Tower just about now, you guys can see the teams starting to get ready. And of course, we're on the boop version of Lijiang Tower. So we're going to be, I think, surely going to be seeing at least some team running the Pharaoh on the early offense, just to try and get that concussion blast into the pit of doom.
But I mean, it's obvious, isn't it, when you're on this section? Like, it's easy enough not to fall for it. So you do see teams, the heads-up teams anyway, they will just stop and wait and see if they are, like, spotting this Pharaoh gliding above, trying to get off that perfect concussion blast. But it does catch teams off guard. We did see it earlier on in the LG game between them and Nubris. So, you know, mistakes do happen. But yeah, again, environmental kills are very big on this section of the map, and a lot of the maps actually, Ilios as well included, which we may see if this goes to a 5th map. But ultimately, we're going to focus on the here and now. Lijiang Tower, it's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, we'll see where these teams decide to take the engagement. Both of them going up over this bridge area. Neither of the teams actually running a Pharah in this initial engagement, and it's going to be HarBlue to try and initiate. First off, running Winston. Wolf is on that Tracer as well, and they've also got Talk playing for code7 on the Tracer, so we've got a pretty interesting matchup here. It's going to be a bit pretty messy, but so far all of the frags are going the way of Northern Gaming Red. HarBlue's been isolated as well on the corner of the map. He's back up against the wall, or rather against the edge of the cliff, and he is going to fall as well. That's a dominating start from Northern Gaming Red.
Yeah, absolutely. It felt like in that engagement they got the positioning much faster than code7 did, but already we're going to see them trying to jump straight onto them, right into the back lines. HarBlue basically trying to laser down as many people as possible, but the positioning by Northern Gaming Red does not allow anything. Wolf has managed to get the pulse bomb straight onto Shake, so that's going to be no mercy for them to play off whatsoever. No heals, no resurrection. They're going to be struggling here now, Sideshow, to try and take this fight. We see them already trying to back out. code7 know they're in a very sticky situation.
They certainly do. They've really got to wait for that Mercy to be back in the fight there. Shake has got his respawn now, and we're going to be seeing a 6v6 fight develop. But both Naptime and Shake have their resurrects up. Bird also has his tactical visor, and obviously Talk is building up the pulse bomb so quickly that he's going to be able to have something to reply with very quickly. The sound blast, the sound barrier does come out from Northern Gaming Red, and they're going to be able to get onto the point and try and pick up all of these frags. They're looking really great so far. In comes the Graviton Surge, doesn't really catch anybody in the end as Wolf zips around inside of it, but now the frag's starting to go the way of code7 in the end.
Yeah, no, it was nicely executed. They delayed their resurrection just long enough there for them to be able to take a better fight, player-wise anyway. So, nicely played by them. And really, this is the challenge holding it for these next few seconds, because they got a lot of cap time on the side of Northern Gaming Red. 58% is quite a hefty amount, and we're going to see the initiation now. Already, Nicholas moving all the way in with that Death Blossom, not connecting onto anyone, but it's HarBlue has managed to pick up one kill at least onto Bread Expert. Primal Rage going to be popped off. He's found Naptime as well. Unbelievable stuff. Wolf is finally going to finish him up, but that is really a lot of work he just put in there for his team, and that's going to be stopping them for at least a couple of more seconds now.
They got 58% on the point, Northern Gaming Red, but code7 are coming back into it already almost on 40%, and if they can hold on to it in this messy team fight that's just about to come up, in comes the Graviton Surge though, but the sound barrier is going to negate all of this damage. HarBlue has a pulse bomb on him though, as he tries to jump away, gets exploded like fireworks in the air. Rez is going to come up though, that keeps a Bread Expert and Chance back in this fight, and Bird's tactical visor picked up 3 in the backfield, and JKW falls, so that is going to be the recap there for Northern Gaming Red, and that early initiation was so good for them.
Absolutely, yeah, and it's a complete swing of events. I saw it becoming like this, but already we're going to see HarBlue. He's jumping in, he's going to be trying to find any picks he can, but he immediately backs off. Talk on that Tracer, trying to basically create some damage for his team to work off. Already HarBlue as well. He's going to be the first casualty in the end. Mangachu brings him down. Bird also finishes up Nicholas, and that's going to force out the resurrection now as they're trying to take this fight if they can. code7 need to try and get more kills, and they are actually achieving it. Naptime falls in the process, which means no resurrection whatsoever going to be available. The post bomb also by Wolf finishing up HarBlue, so really a lot of kills going their way, but still a very scrappy fight so far. Sideshow, JKW finishes up 2 in the end, so I think ultimately code7, they're going to be happy with that, but it was really close, 99% capped.
Yeah, they have got to hold on to this one for almost the full time if they want to be able to take this first round in Lijiang Tower. And Northern Gaming Red have got an opportunity to re-engage back onto them. They have popped off their sound barrier, and they're going to try and get back into this one. The Graviton Surge just popped up and managed to catch 3 of them. Bread Expert, Bird, and Chance are all caught with that pulse bomb. Forces out the resurrect, but all of them are getting massacred now. Northern Gaming Red are getting wiped across the wall.
Yeah, this is just really unbelievable to see. They're crumbling under the pressure, and to a certain degree they only have a few percentage left. They've got one last push to make of it. They're going to be choosing those high mobility heroes now. They're trying to wrap around now the opposite direction. They decided it isn't really working. We see Wolf already on the point, as well as Mangachu trying to work their way in if they can, and he's drawn a few players back. He's triggered the overtime. Here comes the Graviton Surge connecting onto 2. Nicholas is just going to shift out of it, unfortunately for them, and they're going to see if they can pick up these kills. Mangachu with the 3k Death Blossom, he's finished them up. Wolf as well follows up JKW. Chance with Shake, and that is going to be conclusive. Sideshow, surely they're not going to be able to defend off that now.
No, there is no way that they're going to be able to get back into this. They just can't reach the point in time, so it's been stolen from them right from under their noses. It's Northern Gaming Red who walk away with that one, despite the fact that code7 were looking so good right up to that final team fight. And you can see just how close it gets when both teams are nearing the end. They're ticking it up to 90 odd percent. The one team fight can be completely decisive.
Once again, we're going to be moving into this control center area now, and this is where the magic happens. It's a very closed-in area. Ultimates being popped off can cause an absolute devastating effect, but I like it because it comes in these multiple layers. You've got this upper area, which you often see Reapers just dropping down with the Death Blossom and picking up tons of frags. So right now, it's going to be 30 seconds counting down until these teams are ready to roll out, but it looks like it's pretty standard setup so far, Sideshow, when it comes to the draft.
Yeah, they are already in and around the point, despite the fact that it hasn't unlocked quite yet. Both of the teams running the exact same lineup, apart from Nicholas on that Farah, whereas they've got Mangachu on the McCree instead, and it's Northern Gaming Red who are backed out and stuffed back into their spawn area after a disadvantageous first fight. But they can probably get back into this one. The Chance has built up a lot of his power, just going to be raging out that damage from the photon cannon.
Yeah, and now we're going to see them trying to take this fight. There's quite a few kills now going the way of them, but it's really happening on both times. Naptime falling as well, just as he gets the resurrections, and that's going to be absolutely critical. 3 kills already going the way of them right now, as we see code7 just basically storming ahead. Wolf, one of the last survivors, he has to back out here, group up with his team and look to repush, and that is exactly what he's going to do. But ultimately, there's a couple of ultimates available here. We see the pulse bomb on Torque, we see the sound barrier, as well as Shake with the resurrection. So this fight is really going to be a match on who can pop off their resurrection last now.
Yeah, but also JKW is going to have the Graviton Surge up fairly shortly. In fact, he does have it live now, and it gets activated. It's caught 2 players. Do they have to follow up, though? Yes, Bread Expert and Bird both go down there. They are forced to be resurrected. Mangachu is a little bit alone on the point, but he's had a Photon Shield activated on him from Chance, and the counter resurrection has come up from Shake. He gives his life for it, but keeps the rest of his team healthy, and code7 are still taking up that time on the point. Nobody from Northern Gaming Red is able to get in a position to clear these players from the point. They haven't had a decisive team fight so far go their way.
Absolutely. We're going to see Torque. He picks up those follow-up frags, the 2 players going down straight away there. But right now, it is a question of, we see Chance with this Graviton Surge. He's looking to try and initiate in. They're moving in. The Death Blossom popped up by Harblue. He's picked up 2 kills already, and that's exactly not what they wanted with that initiation. Chance has managed to finish him up in the end, but really now Naptime falling as well. 10 seconds remaining pretty much on this cap. This is so tough for them, Sideshow, right now. They're trying to take it to the best of their abilities. Wolf falls as well in the process. It's not looking good in the slightest.
No, it certainly isn't, because that is going to be the round, and it's a super quick reply there from code7. It seems like every time Northern Gaming Red get themselves in a position to eke out a win, they have to fight incredibly hard for it, and they have to just get tooth and nail in there in order to come out with a victory. And then every time they manage to do that, code7 just kind of slap themselves a little bit, and they're like, right, okay, no, we can beat these guys, and just come back with a blinding reply. And that's what we've just seen so far, and the score is 1-1. And reminder that this is match point here in the quarterfinal for code7. If they're able to take this map, then they've managed to take the match, and they go into the semi-final to face Envious tomorrow.
Right now, this is it. These are the lineups these teams are running. We see once again the Zarya being ran by JKW. Both teams spamming it out with their Pharahs, trying to see if they can build up the ultimates whenever they possibly can. The big wraparound now coming out by the side of Northern Gaming Red, as they're trying to basically connect onto them if they can. They're already in control of this point, but they're being met head on now, and really it's just a contest of who can get their ultimates fast. And Nicholas has managed to pick up at least 1 kill onto Wolf now, and the fight is kicking off onto the point at least. A lot of damage coming in by Bird, but unfortunately no one to really follow up on it. Mangachu finally gets 1 frag for their side, picking up Nicholas in the end, and now this fight looks like it's kind of going away of code7, but Mangachu's picked up another kill onto Torque as well. Harblue with the follow-up, however, onto Chance now, and he's knocked a few players off the edge. JKW falls to his death, and ultimately this is really difficult to tell which way this fight is going.
And Northern Gaming Red have started to get the better end of it, though, after doing so much damage with that Pharah Mercy combo of Mangachu and Naptime. Mangachu showing that he can play the classic DPS character just as well as he can play his flex role, so just bossing people around. And him and Naptime both have their ultimates up just due to the amount of damage that they did in that first fight. So eclipsing what Nicholas was able to achieve. And now as the rest of code7 attempt to re-engage onto this point, Heartblue slamming his Hellfire Shotguns into everybody. The barrage is going to engage from Mangachu, picks up 2, including Shake. So now a huge resurrect advantage in favor of Northern Gaming Red. They should be able to clean everyone up on the point here, and they'll just have it ready for the next time.
Yeah, absolutely. And now the time is going to start ticking up. Ultimates up on the side of code7. We are going to see the resurrection. Heartblue has his Death Blossom. Joe Meister with the sound barrier, so they can initiate if they want to. And it looks like that is exactly what they're going to do. Moving around this main area, they're going to speed boost in. Here comes the sound barrier, along with the Death Blossom. But the Graviton Surge is counted out now, along with the Pulse Bomb. It has managed to connect onto JKW, at least bringing him down. Wolf also brings down Joe Meister. Red Expert with the follow-up drag onto Heartblue, and now here comes the Resurrect. Bit of a reset now by code7 as they're trying to take this any way they possibly can. Naptime falling in the process, so that's no heals whatsoever for the defending team. And it looks like now, finally, code7 have got a bit of a foothold. They've got the kills, and they are going to be able to cap it up here, Sideshow.
They reply with a capture, but Northern Gaming Red have already got it to 62%. Is this an opportunity for code7 to slap themselves around a bit, come back into it, be able to hold on to this one for the entirety of the time? Possibly. The momentum is now going to be in their favor, but with Mangachu and Naptime streaming over, Nicholas with the barrage, and he's been defended as well by his Zarya. Stops his barrage from being cut off short. Manages to pick up a ton of players there, and Chance kills himself to really solidify that defense from code7. Absolutely.
Once again, 30% on the cap time. It is just ticking up now as we see Naptime has his Resurrect. Mangachu just got his barrage. Bird as well with the Death Blossom. So we are going to see this initiation now. The sound, I should say speed boost in the Graviton Surge only connects onto 1. But really the frags, it doesn't even matter. They're going their way anyway. Mangachu does manage to get the barrage off onto Shake in the end. But Nicholas is the one to bring him down. And once again, a very stalwart defense coming out by the code7 guys as they are really looking pretty hot.
They certainly are. They're ticking up the time now, and they're just about to eclipse the amount of time that Northern Gaming Red had been able to put on the clock. Both of the teams just at 62%. Now it is the code7 team that start to creep into the lead, and they've won less team fights in order to get themselves into this position as well. It's just that Northern Gaming Red are waiting for a long time to solidify their position before they engage, and they've kind of been locked out a little bit now. This is a really interesting forward hold here by code7, locking them out in the first choke points of Lijiang Tower on this stage of the map. And as they try and come in, Heartblue just destroying them with a 4K there. Huge stuff.
Yeah, now here comes the Resurrect. They're going to try and take the fight version 2, but look at this cap time already. The only thing they can hope is to try and force some overtime, but there's no spawners whatsoever, Sideshow. The overtime is going to begin to trickle down now, as no one is there to answer the point, no one is there to answer the call, and that is going to put another round on the table for the side of code7.
And that was such an interesting forward hold as well from them on that point, just locking them off into that spawn area on this stage of Lijiang. We are going to go to a new one. Oh no, we're not. We're back to the... of course we're back. We've already played 3. We have to return to one of them, and we've returned to our good old friend, the Abyss. So we'll see how they managed to come out on top of this one. It was code7 that managed to steal this one away from Northern Gaming Red right at the beginning. So we'll see whether they can manage to do it again. Both of these two teams were incredibly close the last time they played on this particular stage of Lijiang. And this is the match and the tournament life on the line here for Northern Gaming Red.
They need to try and take a fight very smartly here. One slip-up can cost them pretty much their entire placement in this tournament. Already we're going to see them trying to take the positioning onto the point there, wrapping around. Heartblue with the follow-up. He's trying to basically pick up any damage, and he's already got nap time, so that's beautiful for them. code7 are absolutely slamming today. They pick up 4 kills. Heartblue with the 3K. Nicholas follows it up. Shake does go down, however. But I think ultimately after that absolute decimation of players, you're going to be happy at least capping the point. Shake's going to be respawning. Even now, he does return to the land of the living, and he's going to be flying straight over to his team. So really, nothing lost whatsoever.
No, they take control of the point, and that's a good start for them, for code7, who are so close to progressing to the semifinals and facing Envious. That game will be happening tomorrow, but for now, they have to get past Northern Gaming Red, who are giving it their all, but code7 stuffing them into this small health pack area, just making sure that they can't come in through the choke whatsoever. Nicholas has fallen, but in comes the pulse bomb as well. Bird picking up two, Nicholas and JKW down. He gives his own life for it, and the res comes out to ensure that JKW is back in the fight. Zarya caught in the Graviton Surge though, and Nicholas is going to be able to get the follow-up on Chance. So that Graviton Surge really getting no value out of that one.
Yeah, it looks like code7, they're pretty firmly in control here. They've got a few ultimates available, actually. We do see Wolf, he's got his pulse bomb, Bread Expert as well, the sound barrier, so there is room for an initiation here, but they need to be careful moving across this bridge. We see Chance is really just walking along a knife's edge here, just basically on that bridge area, trying to spam out, and here comes the Graviton Surge, just connected only onto one. Mangachu just shifts his way through it, and they are going to manage to find that one kill onto Trans. Bread Expert has found Harblu as well, but here comes the Tactical Visor by Bird. He's being damage boost. He hasn't managed to find one kill yet, but the Resurrection is finally going to get popped off now by Northern Gaming Red, and here is the reset. Already the sound barrier comes out along with the death barrier, I should say barrel, or however you want to call it. I've completely mixed up my words here, but we see them pretty much in complete control of the map here, Sideshow. It's an absolute decimation. They've got all the frags they want in the world, and it's all up to Wolf, and Wolf's ended up dead anyway.
Yeah, this is one that is going to be so difficult for Northern Gaming Red to try and rescue it. They've really just got one last chance to dive onto the point and see if they can rescue any kind of situation from this. It's 99%, and unfortunately Chance falls off to his death as we enter overtime, but there's only one player there, and this is going to be code7 advancing to the semi-finals to face Envious, and unfortunately Northern Gaming Red, we have to say goodbye to them as they are eliminated from iBUYPOWER's Summer Invitational. Ooh, that was a tense one though as well, but it was code7 that came out. They had some shaky moments, but they certainly came out as the better team overall.
I think we predicted this. It was a safe bet to make at the end of the day. You know, they have been playing extremely well. code7, Northern Gaming Red, as we mentioned before, they show a lot of potential. And from that game, we saw it all. They had some incredibly close encounters. And really, I think in the right circumstances, it could have gone either way. But code7 really shown that they are the dominant force in this game, at least. So that is, as you mentioned, them going to be advancing to the semi-finals, which will be played tomorrow. Northern Gaming Red, unfortunately, going to be knocked out now. But we've had some good Overwatch today.
We certainly have, and it only promises to get better. This is a weekend tournament run by iBUYPOWER, so a big thanks to them for putting this event on. But the best is yet to come. We've got the semifinals running tomorrow from 3:30 p.m. So you gotta catch those. It's Envious against code7 and Luminosity against Cloud9. So you guys can see that as well. They're going to be going on to the grand finals as well after that, which will be at 8 p.m. EDT after a third place decider match to decide who gets what share of the $5,000 prize pool. And if you guys want to win something as well, there is still that giveaway going on. It's going to be going on all today and tomorrow. There's a whole mess of sweet computer hardware prizes from all the great sponsors. So a big thanks to the people who make these kind of events possible by sponsoring iBUYPOWER for these invitationals. And this invitational is brought to you by Intel, Nvidia, WD, Best Buy, and Microsoft. So huge thanks to those guys. Check out the giveaways as well, which will be running today and tomorrow. So you guys have a chance of winning something as well, and you don't even have to compete. I mean, you can't get a sweeter deal than that. Absolutely.
As well, a final thank you as well to everyone who watched us throughout the day. It's absolutely incredible that I think we peaked at something like 8,500 viewers. Absolutely insane. Really a big thank you to all of you guys at home, because these events, they wouldn't be possible without you guys, the viewers. So of course, a big thank you to our sponsors, and a big thank you mainly to you guys as well.
Yeah, we will be sending the Overwatch action straight at you tomorrow afternoon. Of course, afternoon if you live on the East Coast of North America. Elsewhere, who knows what time it could be. You got to stay up till all hours to catch the Overwatch action, of course. But a reminder that it's going to be at 3:30 p.m. EDT. We're starting the semi-finals tomorrow, and it's going to be a blinder of a game. So make sure you catch us then. But for now, it's good night.